Hey, cousins. This is episode 2 of the UnReal docu-series. Episode 2 is titled The Push. You got to push. You got to push. You got to push it till you get it right. Push. Y'all know I couldn't pass that up. We start the episode with Jey Uso not being recognized. So the guy is like, I don't know who you are. I know Mark Henry back there. Jay was like, well, Mark Henry can vouch for me. So he's sitting there, and the guy went back to give vouching from Mark Henry, and Jey Uso just went in because he's like, I gotta go. So we start with that.
This is hard to explain to people, but there's something about putting your finger on the pulse of what is happening, and it's a feel. It's not a thought process. It's a feel. Our business is not about this. About this. Isn't that the job, right? To make the biggest stars possible. As you're making those stars, one of the biggest ways to officially stamp them as being a star is the road to WrestleMania.
Okay, you heard Paul Leviskay. He just told you to make a star, you gotta do it at the Royal Rumble. That is traditionally the beginning of WrestleMania season, the road to WrestleMania. In the season calendar, that is February. Okay. Um, Remember this is last year because I don't even know what the season is this time. They done moved so much shit around. So we are now on our way to the road to WrestleMania. They are explaining WrestleMania. Now, if you're a person who does not understand any of this shit, maybe this would be fascinating to you, but we are wrestling fans, so we kind of already know this stuff. So I fast forwarded. Okay, so there's a point where we had to once again go over the legacy of Cody Rhodes and his father. Look, that tongue, I keep telling you every time I talk about Cody. His financial issues, he had to sell a Rolex. So Paul Leviskay says him and his billionaire friends had got together and I guess put in for what they gave Cody, which was the Rolex that his father had to sell. I think they just bought him a new Rolex. So he's crying and carry on. We had to have that. I don't know why this had to be a part of this. Little bit bizarre, disjointed, has nothing to do with anything, whatever the case may be. Then we go into Ed Kwolski explaining to us that on the road to WrestleMania, they sandwiched in a Saturday night main event. And this is where we are going through the Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes saga, where Kevin Owens took the winged eagle that everybody was so fucking crazed about. And you remember, go back, you remember the whole story about Cody. Kevin feels he shouldn't be in the spot. Cody feels he should be in the spot because his daddy. Kevin has the winged eagle. Cody has the other title. We're going to have both titles at the top. And eventually we know how it ended with ladders and guts and blood. And Cody having his photo op holding both the winged eagle and the new title, right? That was what was going on there. So they said, we want to zhuzh this up because we know it sucks. So what can we do? And they came up, well, somebody decided, or Kevin said, how about I just beat you up in the back? And we already know that they're going to be back there filming because they already up our ass, meaning the fans. So that's what we saw. And no one understood, or they thought it was a shoot at first or a real, right, fight. Come to find out, it was storyline driven. That gave a little more heat to the match. So when we finally got to the match, I guess people were interested. I wanted Kevin Owens to win because I don't care for Cody. There you go. So then we go right into Joshua Samuel Fatu. He said he was going to go by Jules. They didn't like it, so they said Jay. Jay gives me delayed sometimes. He does. Maybe he was the second, couple minutes younger than his brother. I think of some oxygen got cut off because he does give me a little slow. And I'm not even trying to be funny. Just the way he conducts himself here, he's not sure of himself. He's shy, and like they thrusted him into this spotlight. And I still wonder why he was chosen. He probably wonders that too. All right, we are back in the writer's room, and now it's time to talk about who's going to win the Royal Rumble matches. And this is where we hear some interesting conversation, and I get a real good look at the writer's room, and I see, oh, there's a woman, but her and the other dude, they're just going away on the damn the keyboard like stenographers. So I'm just like, is anybody adding to this? Again, Ed Kwolski and Paul Leviskay are the two focal points of this. So first question from Paul Leviskay was, who do you see winning the Rumble? I do see Paul Heyman in there. I don't recognize, oh, I see Bobby Roode. There's like a beige dude. I think he's biracial. But anyway, everybody said punk, 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 punk. And then, of course, Paul Leviskay is on a whole nother stratosphere. So CM Punk was one, and then John Cena, and this guy was like, because this is his last year, he should probably, get it in and, do the whole greatest hits type thing. And I don't think Paul Leviskay was on board with that. So Ed Kwolski was like, I like Jey in one of those spots, but with the world we live in, I didn't understand the statement. With the world we live in, like, one of y'all tell me what he was talking about in that particular statement. I want to put Jey in one of those spots, but with the world we live in, I didn't understand what he meant. So this is the crazy part. So we got old boy Michael Hayes said, so the thought process is you want somebody new, hot, and fresh. How did Jey, and he said Jey checked those boxes. Jey is not new and he's not fresh. Is he hot? Yes. But Jey's, flame had kind of dulled down. It was kind of flickering at this moment. And, people were kind of not really fucking with him like that or whatever the case would be. So it was almost more of a rebellious pick to put Jey in that position. And when you listen to them in the writer's room, if you go back and just listen to that in episode 2, you'll see Punk and Cena was just obvious. Ed threw Jey in there. I didn't understand, again, with the world. But new, hot, and fresh, Michael Hayes, like, I don't see where Jey was new, hot, and fresh. I do see hot, but new, hot, and fresh really confused me. So they then jumped to Paul Leviskay walking up. Jay's out there, mingling on the arena floor and stuff. Paul Leviskay walks up to him, pulls him to the side. He's like, listen, I'm going to put the rocket on you. I'm going to strap it to your ass. I'm going to blast you to the fucking moon. And I just want to know if you're ready for that. Jey was completely taken off guard, was not prepared for what he heard. He wasn't ready. He was just like, yeah, like, you okay? That's what you're going to do. Like, I'm down for, this is new for me. You can see he was unsure. He's a tag team guy. He had to put a lot of things in perspective. He's like, man, it's different being in the tag team because you could tag out, you could take 5, you could breathe. He was like, I got to do all this myself. I'm gassed. I'm coming in. You dancing and shit. He wore out. He's not really picking up the way he want to pick up. And they knew this. When you see the show, these guys in the writer room know this, that he was not prepared. But they wanted to do something crazy because they also knew that there was no buzz going toward the Royal Rumble. There was no buzz because these guys are perpetually on the internet. I learned that they book for the internet. They knew the internet was not feeling what was going on, so they had to do something crazy. And the best way to do it was to pick a wild card or their version of Hail Mary. People were getting fatigued with John. People were kind of tired of seeing Punk and what he had going on. We just came off of Punk and what's old boy name? Seth Rollins. It was a lot going on. We got the Saturday night main event, disjointed as fuck. We got to do something that's going to get eyes and explode. Quote unquote experience, moments. That is what they were looking for. After they saw Jey Uso in pair that over in Europe and all the lights and stuff, that's all they needed. They was like, we just see money. He isn't fresh. He isn't new. Right now, he's hot, and they took a gamble. And they put all that fucking pressure on Jey. And it showed. You know, we had to see Stephanie McMahon dry ass. That's how she was laughing. I was just like, oh my God. Anyway, she had to introduce the Royal Rumble. She came back, sat in Gorilla. That's really the only time you saw Stephanie sitting in Gorilla, which is interesting because when Stephanie's not there, I don't see him on top of Rhea Ripley like that. But I'm going to leave it alone. We'll come back to it though. Put a pin in that. Table that for now. So they back there kissing or whatever. And he telling her how great she did. And then we get the Kevin Owens and they go into the Kevin Owens and the Cody Rhodes match for main event. I fast forwarded again. They're just showing you how they're in the ref's ear, shooting out camera cuts, talking to the truck, do it whoop de whoop de whoop. Ooh, make it good, make it good. A lot of those spots was rough. People got, I thought Kevin Owens fucking broke his ass and popped his gut the way he went to that ladder. Whoop de whoop de whoop. So we went on to see the Royal Rumble and they actually did these cool camera cuts. It looks like when they show Roman doing one thing and the camera does this crazy zoom and you see Roman doing another thing. I thought that was cool throughout when they was doing that, like a video game situation. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was really cool, zooming in and out, and it looked like Roman was in the ring at the same time, at the same moments doing his moves, whatever. So we're going through that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We get down to it. They're showing you how they're telling, the ref to tell the guys more emotion, pause, do this, do that, move around this way, that, the third, give us more feeling. John Cena is very cartoonish with his selling and whatever the case may be. So he's doing his Thug Thizzle. We get the whole CM Punk got put out. Roman got the double stomp from hell. They was like, oh shit, like damn, that double stomp still looks fucking terrible. They said, was his face okay? We got all of that. Then they said, okay, get Seth out of there because we got to get this going. So, I thought it was really interesting at a point that I believe this is where CM Punk actually choreographed that whole ending of the Royal Rumble, where you saw Seth come in, curb stomp CM Punk, then he get caught up in a chokehold, and then all of that stuff. CM Punk literally sat there. They was having a powwow or whatever, and he choreographed the whole thing. The stuff that was good had nothing to do with Paul Levesque. The ending of that Royal Rumble, was that Royal Rumble? Yeah, I believe so, child. I don't even know. Anyway, didn't have yes, it was. Didn't have nothing to do with Paul Levesque. Oh, was that the Elimination Chamber? I'm so confused. Yes, that was the Elimination Chamber. I'm sorry, that's the next episode. Either way, the ending was, you already know, Jay pushed John off the mat, off the net, off the apron, and everybody was just like, oh, and then they cut to Gorilla, and Paul Levesque immediately goes to the crowd. He's like, look, they're doing the thing, and that's what he was excited about. Not that it made sense, not that it would be great storytelling. He was excited about the moment. They're doing the thing. Look, they got the arms moving. Oh, this is good. He's so hot, and it's a good time, and he just thought everything was gonna be awesome. Now here we are, hindsight is 2020, whatever the case may be. That's really episode 2 in a nutshell. So again, like I said, every time they leave the ring, Jimmy was waiting on Jay. He got his traditional, I guess, lay or whatever the case may be. And right there was Paul Levesque to grip his fucking head, give him words of encouragement, and say, we gotta go take this picture. Every time he's right there. It's really overbearing and it seems unnecessary. That's just my opinion on it. Like, he felt good about it. CM Punk gave him he was like, you know what, you did good. I wish it was me. It wasn't. Boom, boom, boom. That was the backstage. I guess that would break kayfabe. I don't know. But again, the way Paul Levesque just comes in and kind of takes that moment to make sure the last thing that they remember from this is Paul Leviskay. I don't like it. That is episode 2. Episode. There go the coast of look, the ghost of Cody Rhodes is tearing my tongue up. Get in the comments, y'all, and tell me what y'all think. If you watched it, I'll catch you on the next one.